Okay, guys, just a little bit before I start, is that if you see me a little bit fidgety, a little bit stiff on my movements while I talk today, is that I have to confess that I have uh, the day I just went to see this movie, I didn't exactly had a good night. I woke up with my neck having this, one of those pain in the neck, literally that it stayed there very prolonged. It's not saying major. It's just I probably slept with a bad position and that I even felt it during the whole movie that it was kind of a little bit distracting, to keep my neck in position. And you know what I mean. But I still gonna try my best to talk about what I saw today, which is none other than Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is the latest movie of the of the Dreamwork franchise that I will actually call it more like the fairy tale world franchise. Because just to give you a little bit of a heads up, yep, I did. I did started out watching Shrek, and I watched almost all of the movies. Yeah, even the fourth one. I have kind of like my own opinions. And I do have to agree that I was actually one of those guys who was actually excited when Puss in Boots gets his own movie. Because let's face it, he was really cool, and he kind of deserved something like that. And I remember enjoying the last his last movie, even though I kind of can't forget about it, but it's most not because the movie was technically forgettable, but it was mostly because DreamWorks decided to get busy with other with other movies like How to Train Your Dragon and well the good guys no the bad guys comes into my head also you know the gist. Okay. I was struggling to say, for example, Kung Fu Panda because, well, for those that doesn't know, I despise Kung Fu Panda. I saw the first two movies and I hated them both. And one of those that I hate is because my sole hatred to Jack Black, of course. But that's a story for another time, I'll say. It kind of came to me a little bit of a surprise that they decided to bring out this movie again because it's been a long time since we go into the fairy tale world, with the world of Shrek and Puss in Boots. The last time I seen Shrek, it was kind of like in this Netflix series that I see a clip of it in which he basically saves Michael Myers' life. Go check it out. It's really true that there's this live action show in which Michael Myers plays a part, and then he gets saved by a guy who is dressed up like Shrek, it's kind of if you like Shrek, you might find it heartwarming or kind of cute. I'll say not heartwarming, and that's probably the wrong word. It's cute. Still, I was eager to watch that movie, and of course they decided to put it on during the Christmas week because that's when they just wanna that's kind of like the pinpoint for the marketing here and there. Almost similar to the marketing strategy that Illumination did with Sing. Sing 2 also. Although I know that this week they also have The Whale. Although I wasn't exactly how can I say wowed about enough to watch the movie. I'm not exactly very attracted to drama, I'll say, but still, right in the get-go, I do understand about Brendan Fraser's acting, and I've seen clips of it, and he's really good. That's the least I could say about it. But personally, I just go there with to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and to really sad audience, I'll say. When I went there, it was very early. I woke up very early so I could go to the earliest showing. And it was only me, mother with her child, and that's it. And honestly, this is sad because I found out this movie very legitimately good. It was fun, and not exactly kind of like like you're gonna say wow factor here and there, but still it is an enriching story with with the charming characters, has some good things, and a little bit of the dark humor. And I'm not gonna lie, and a little bit of the dark humor is kind of enriches this whole movie, that kind of makes it a little bit hilarious. And man, and it did come off, make it becoming a movie that it makes its work. I'm not gonna lie. Probably people are gonna hate this, but I think I like this movie better than Avatar 2. Okay, I gave my praise to Avatar Way of the Water, the Way of the Water. I mean, and I just just thought that maybe I was over our pre. The movie has that enough praises as it is, and I don't like to overhype stuff like that. But okay, maybe I just distracted here and there. So let's get on talking about what the movie is about. Which of course it follows, of course, Puss in Boots from the Shrek universe. Like always, he's played by Antonio Banderas. In which, after this kind of like kick-ass opening scene, he gets quote unquote killed, but he resurrected because he has 9 lives. He's cocky about it until the doctor say that, dude, you're in your last life, so I think it is time for you to retire. At first he's like, nah, until he finally realizes that his life is on thin thread when he finds out this big bad wolf that he kind of bests him on his fight and everything. So he finds an enemy that he can defeat. So basically, yeah, he's forced to retirement into this cat lady house, where of course he lives kind of like the mundane life of a cat, kind of like the cats or the mundane life of a cat living in a cat lady house. That is until he finds out that there is this legendary wishing star that came from the sky and it gets surrounded by this magical woods that they call it the Dark Woods. And apparently he discovered that there is a map that leads them there, and anyone who reaches that last wishing star, which that is called, it's gonna grant them any wish. So Puss in Boots decides that he's gonna take the opportunity to take the star and wish for his 9 lives back. That's the gist of it. Which basically, at first I was in my head kind of thinking that, oh my god, this is another one of those movies that the creators they're gonna say that, oh, we're too old now and we have to make our lives as fulfilling as possible, or we're gonna have a tutor or something like that. It's the one that I always dreaded in a lot of Pixar movies, which is the one that I call it the middle-age syndrome movie, which basically is a movie that kind of just feels that it's getting too old, and it shows it. This one kind of does it, but luckily, I would say that luckily it doesn't hammer it a little bit too much into your head saying that we're getting too old, but it's mostly like saying that even if you're in your last life, your life is just one, and you have to make it up for it without and trying to confront the fear of mortality. I'll say this is the best I could describe with it. I'll go a little bit into detail about it without trying to spoil, but I will say that you're gonna get, the same cast of characters that you like, as well as some new ones. Like always, Antonio Banderas is excellent as Puss in Boots. He kind of was born for the role, and he acts like like this like suave, very kind of cocky, and the same lovable character that we used to like. Returning from the last movie, we also have Salma Hayek playing Kitty Softpaw, which is kind of like Puss in Boots' quote unquote girlfriend. But in this movie, they make her that she's salty because he did something in one place that I'm not gonna dare to reveal it. But she's basically the literal cat woman for Puss in Boots, and and she does kind of like this job, I'll say. Other characters that there is in the movie is Puss in the cat house. He meets this mangy Chihuahua dog, in which he basically doesn't have a name, but they labeled him as Perro, which is dog in Spanish. He's played by let me see the name here, Harvey Guillen. This dog, my God, there's some moments that he made me chuckle because this character he's kind of like the sidekick that you want, but at the same time you don't want. Because in a way he follows you everywhere, and he's overly optimistic, considering that he just comes up with some dark stuff from his backstory. I mean, the backstory he just mentioned it one, and it's really dark, I'll say. But still, he always finds a way to put kind of like a happy twist out of it. Very overly optimist. You're gonna. It's the kind of guy that you're gonna say, "I hate you," and he's gonna come back by saying, "I love you." And so it took me a while also to warm up with that character, I'll say. Other character that you've seen also in the trailer is that also looking for the wishing star is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In which usually, like in the Shrek universe, they always put a spin to all these fairy tale characters. Sometimes they make them bounty hunters, and like in this, and they are bounty hunters. They're kind of like a family of bounty hunters, arguing with each other, but at the same time loving each other. But they come into the movie, at first they wanted to search for Puss in Boots in order to help them steal this magical map, which I'll get to it. But the more the movie advances, you see that there is a three-dimensionality between these characters, and you're gonna see the reason why they want them. They want the wish, which kind of makes these characters, well, in a way three-dimensional. And once you kind of know them, you feel for them. I begin to feel for them, especially in one moment. But of course, let's not forget that that they're kind of like Puss in Boots, one of those rivals, I'll say. And of course I also have to. This movie also has two antagonistic forces. Well, if you call Goldilocks, then there will be three. The other antagonistic force is what was it? Jack Horner from that Mother Goose rhyming. Well, I don't know what it is. It was Jack Horner put the thumb in prune pie, and when he pops it out, he says, "I'm a good boy," something like that. That's what I remember. He's played by John Mulaney. Man, that I really love the design of this guy. And they make him kind of like this, collector who is obsessed with collecting magical items. He's the one who gets the map first until later they stole it, and he just becomes the antagonistic force that follows them. And in a way, he is basically a two-dimensional villain. I'll say that. No, no regards to anyone. No regards to what the damages that he's causing. He just has his set mind on his goal, and to make it to prove it to you that he is evil. There is a moment in which he gets accompanied by well, for lack of better words, the Jiminy Cricket, who kind of begins to act his conscience, but he doesn't listen to him. I kind of laugh, but what makes me laugh is mostly what happens to his lackeys. Let's say that what happens to his lackeys is disturbingly dark. It's kind of dark. Let's say that is what will happen if someone is a piece of shit with the red shirt from Star Trek. and these guys and these lackeys, they died horribly, at least per PG standards, but still that I was like, oh my god. And finally, the other antagonist is like I mentioned, there is the big bad wolf, played by Wagner Moura. And this guy, he's probably the most anime of all the villains. He basically just show up with Puss in Boots, kind of like these spaghetti monster / anime style characters that are pretty much kind of like edgelords, and they become kind of like their rival, and he's better than the main protagonist. And come to think of it, this is the second time they used the big bad wolf on the Dreamworks movie. And remember, we had this year the bad guys, and we have kind of these two spectrums. We had the big bad wolf who tries to be a good guy, and now we have one that embraces it. But the way he is used as a character, he kind of makes him look like he's the Grim Reaper to Puss in Boots. Especially the way he talks, and he's cool looking. Every time when he comes up with a whistle, and he just whistles. I don't remember how the whistle goes, but he goes like something like that, and it shows how it shows his edgelord side, and I might ruin it a little bit, but let's say that he's still a character, but for the most of the movie, it plays out like he's probably not there, but he actually is there. Okay, and that came a little bit wrong, but the point is that he basically becomes the physical manifestation for Puss in Boots as the Grim Reaper, and kudos to the voice actor that he does it really well on that one. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have to talk about the characters, and now I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the animation, because there is something that I have to describe it, that compared to the previous Shrek movies, I'll say, I'm gonna admit that this one in style and animation is better. It shows improvement over the years that we just feel familiarized with the fairy tale universe, I'll say. Although, don't get me wrong, I know that the old Shrek movies, the animation didn't age well, but it's passable, because it was during that time that, how can I say, technology, 3D technology was on their early stages, and people were, doing what they must with the limited knowledge and the limited technology that they had. And little by little, the craft was getting better and better and better, and becoming they become a little bit more stylized. Until now we get a little bit to this point in which it looks better. You see that the details like the hair grow. It grew a little bit. It grew better and more stylized compared to the other Shrek movies. And there are some action scenes in which you're gonna notice that there's some choppiness and some rate decrease, but that is given a pass because it's mostly used as a style. And by the way, when you see these action scenes, that kind of reminded me that this is kind of like the same technique that it has been used for Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. That's the best way I can describe this. But still, I again, I like it. I like it better. I like it better compared to the other Shrek movies, as well as the last Puss in Boots movie, in which I remember I kind of began to remember this movie because I went to a doctor's appointment, and while I was sitting on the waiting room, and the television they were showing the last Puss in Boots movie, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'll say. Now I'm gonna ask some random elements that I did like. For example, I will say that this movie really takes the thematic about how can I say not taking your life for granted. I'll say that if you know that Puss in Boots was technically kind of like this cocky Legend of all legends character, larger than life, that he doesn't fear death. Although there are some moments in which he gets killed, but he lost his 8 lives, and now he's on the brink of death, and this is where he begins to question his mortality, especially when he confronts an enemy it's stronger than him, which I'm talking about, the big bad wolf. And of course that he later begins to learn through Kitty Sapphire and the dog that well, sometimes that there are some things that makes your life kind of feel safer and nicer, I'll say, for the best of it. Although it's mostly about taking your life for granted, and this also comes in also with the arc that Goldilocks has about taking your what you got for granted, and sometimes you have to appreciate what you're given and not expect too much, and try to not think about death and all, try to not think about death or the future and all these things, and just go with what makes you feel happy without thinking that, well, just your mortality, I'll say. It's just like that, like the dog say that sometimes you have to stop and smell the roses. And by the way, there is a moment about that one and this kind of also makes links to that map, which I gotta say that map is probably one of the most clever things that this movie has, because it is a special map. It doesn't technically just show you, like, for example, point A to point B, because when they get into the woods, the map basically it magically shows you where it is, but it is also had an added bonus that whoever holds the map, it's gonna showcase an individual trial for the one who holds it, and each one is different from each other. So the world surrounding them transforms into the one that is holding it, and all these trials is basically a trial that is how can I say, making the character feeling lonely, bad, or they have kind of like this trouble. So this part this is kind of like, I really like that part of the map, until we get, of course, into the final competition with the wishing star that, for some reason, it reminded me of Mario Party for some reason. When you see it, you will get it. You will get it. Oh, again, did I mention again that this movie gets a little bit dark sometimes? And again, I'm mostly talking about the deaths that happen in this movie. I'm serious, the movie has a body count, and mostly it involves the Jack Horner character and his lackeys. That again gave me kind of like a big dark smile on my face. Okay, I think I talked long enough about this movie. I'll say. So I think that it's gonna be enjoyable for anything. I think for the dark stuff, I think your kids are gonna be fine. You know that kids will get to see worse stuff in the future, so let them be prepared. And it's still a DreamWorks Puss in Boots movie that you're gonna enjoy it for what it is. It has a good message about taking everything for granted. And well, that's pretty much I have to say. So, ole.